Willie D. Live.
What's up, family? Congress says investigations of Donald Trump, your president, and his family are coming should they take the House of Representatives in the midterms. Yeah, fam. And furthermore, they said on day one, there will be a hearing on those Epstein files. I ain't got no problem with that. Yeah, man, it's going down. That was the look that Trump had on his face when he got the news. Yeah, it was horrible, fam. They say he went straight to the bathroom with his chicken. Anyway, fam, Democrats vow day one Epstein hearing if they flip House. Yeah, man. This is according to Notice, which stands for News of the United States. That's a nonpartisan news agency, allegedly. There's Robert Garcia. Democrats are planning to investigate President Trump's family businesses and subpoena acting Attorney General Todd Blanche to testify about Jeffrey Epstein if they win control of the House in November. California Representative Robert Garcia, who is in line to become the chairman of the House Oversight Committee under Democratic control, told Notice that Democrats are prepared to subpoena Blanche and other administration officials on day one, and that he expects some of their testimony to happen on camera. We've had 0 hearings on Epstein, Garcia said about the GOP-led investigation. It's a huge investigation the American public is interested in. There will definitely be public hearings. Beyond Epstein, Garcia is proposing an investigative agenda that will target Trump family corruption, potential pay-to-play schemes at the Department of Homeland Security, and the destruction of vaccine programs at Health and Human Services. Republicans are certain to oppose those efforts. Yeah, I would say at the least they are certain to oppose those efforts, but I called Trump about this, man, and he just held the phone and texted me this picture. I guess, man, you ain't got to do all that, man. I thought we were better than that. Now, here's the thing, fam. I wouldn't hold my breath on this. Sounds too good to be true. I'll believe it when I see it. If the Republicans had said that, I would have been like, yeah, that's going to happen. But it's like the Democrats, their follow-through game sucks monkey nuts. I mean, the follow-through is weak. Even when they have it, man, there have been times when they had the House and they had the Senate, and it looked like the Republicans were in control. Because the Republicans, see, they don't just use the law, they also use intimidation tactics, fear and intimidation tactics. That's why they still got the Ku Klux Klan around. Did you know that? The government, this government, that governs us, they identify the Klan as a religious organization, a nonprofit, a tax-free religious organization. This is the Ku Klux Klan, a terrorist organization everybody knows is a terrorist organization. The government is well aware of their history. They ran off the Black Panthers who was helping the Black community. And they killed and imprisoned many in his leadership, right? And just also regular members. But they allowed the Klan to ride. The Klan still has offices across the United States. Yeah. They're identified as a religious organization. Why do they keep them around? The Klan is the U.S. government's personal henchmen. Yeah, they use them to keep Black people in check primarily. And then anybody else who they deem to be a threat to the status quo, right? They use them, and they're all. Now, don't get me wrong, fam. The Klan is super slow because the United States will allow them to terrorize people and everything, right? And then at the same time, they practice in subjugation against them. They get mad at the government, and then the government blames Black people or immigrants or everybody else, and then they go out and relieve their stress by targeting people, attacking people. And the cycle continues. Yeah, so the Klan and the government got a deal, right? There are also Klan members who work for police departments across the United States. You know, they infiltrated the police departments decades ago. So this is why you can see some of these officers, they got a switch. When it's Black people, they got two systems they operate. When it's Black people, this is the protocol. When it's white people, this is the protocol. And when it's other people, this is the protocol. This is the way that they operate, right? That's how they operate. So you're trying to figure out, man, how can it be so distinctively clear when they exercise patience when dealing with white folks, and they have zero patience and zero respect when it comes to Black folks? How can they do that? How do they just turn it on and off? It's because they're hardwired for that. It doesn't matter what the situation is. They're looking at the color. Point blank, period. They're just looking at the color. Moving on. They're talking about investigating Trump, his family, and their businesses. Here's the thing. See, investigating is one thing. Putting people in jail is a whole different thing. This is why I do not get all excited when those members of Congress are having hearings. They're having these congressional hearings, and people are before Congress and they're pointing fingers at them. They're sitting there grilling them for 9 hours, and nothing happens to them. You know, they call them all the way out. They trap them all the time, and nothing ever happens to them. Even Mark Zuckerberg just sat there and laughed at him. You know, the whole time they was grilling Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg was just, you know, this is a joke. Y'all ain't gonna do nothing. What you gonna do? Nothing. They don't ever do anything. They just talk. I suspect that they won't do anything to Trump or his family. I don't even believe they're gonna make them give any of that money back. You know, they've been getting those no bid contracts. No bid contracts going to Trump, going to Trump's sons, his son-in-law, and other people that he's connected to. Trump has made over $5 billion in the last 18 months. $5 billion, the president of the United States. He got an offshore account that he keeps millions of dollars in that he got from the oil reserves in Venezuela. He sold the oil. They put the money. He said that the sale of the oil would benefit Americans. Lord knows we need it right now, right? He took the money. He took the profits. He took the proceeds, the revenue from the sale of the oil in Venezuela and moved it to an offshore account in Qatar. And guess who has the signature for the account? Trump. He's the account holder. Trump. He controls the account. The president, come on. fam. This is wild. All of this is wild to me. But here we are. They had a chance to finish Trump off before this re-election. They could have finished him off. They could have prevented him from ever running again, but they didn't do it. They didn't do it because they were either too scared to put the full press on, or they were in cahoots. Which one you want to believe? A 34-time felon who ain't never been to jail, allowed to run for president and be seated. See, anybody can run for president. Anybody listening to me right now can run for president, but that don't mean you're going to be seated. You can run, you can win. Everybody can go vote for you, but they're not going to allow you to be seated. You see? That's where the electoral come in at. The popular vote don't really mean all that much. It's a good argument, but it's not the end all be all. That's why they need to change that. But anyway, fam, what say you? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.